Hello, if we've never met before, my name is Rachel and I channel messages for the collective as well as my own healing. And I wanted to share a short message for the collective on darkness and light. Also, my skin is totally purging, so that is part of this darkness and light. In order for more light to come in, the old gunk has to come out, and sometimes that can be literally all up in your face. Sometimes it's going to be more subtle. But yeah, I think these dynamics have been at play the last week or two. Tomorrow's the 11/11 portal, so kind of a big energetic space there. And I've been on my channeling game points. So here in America, there was an obvious right and left kind of side playing out last week. A lot of people view it as the darkness and the light. If you are a human on Earth, humans have really been fascinated by the dark and light for a long time. Looking at Star Wars movies, superhero movies, there's a lot of conditioning about being good and bad, or white and black, this or this. So what's very interesting is that we have a subconscious mind, and the subconscious does think in yes and no and black and white. And then we also have this newer part of the mind, right, that has evolved more recently since then, and that's all about all these nuances, all the gray in between the black and the white. So one thing to note about the dark and the light and the good and the bad is that we are no different from that. Like internally, we have love and we have light and we have grace, and we also have darkness, which could be depression or anger or sadness or some of those more uncomfortable feelings. I do like to watch true crime and like Dr. Phil, some of those psychological shows and information, because human behavior is so fascinating. So there have been examples of, the most extreme, like parents. So they gave birth to offspring, and these are human parents. I'm not going to talk about animal parents right now. And some of those parents choose to unalive their kids, right? And these crazy instances and stories. And it seems like that's bad. And it seems like, well, how can that even happen? But it does happen. So that's why exploring this lightness and this darkness is so interesting, right? Because a lot of those times too, in any true crime, very like horrendous events, people are like, that is not that person that I know. Like, I never saw that side of them. So in reality, like I said, under certain circumstances, people can really kind of become this bad, right? This bad manifestation of how they choose to show up in very harmful and hurtful ways to a lot of people. And sometimes on those mass scale stories, from a soul perspective, that soul that was often the victim kind of signed up to be not a sacrifice, but kind of being a light keeper to show us about these realities. Okay, so again, I think if you just look at the human world, like sometimes we could just fall into everything's so scary, everything's so bleak, everything's so bad, everything's so grim, because a lot of those stories do say everything's bad, the news really focuses on bad things because it keeps our attention, it keeps us in the fear consciousness. So what do you get to do with that, right? My messages are always about empowering people and overcoming suffering and living your best and happiest, healthiest life. There's a quote or there's like a meme about it too, like a picture. So I think it's like an old Native American proverb or something, and there's two wolves inside of you, and one is more of the anger and the greed, and one's more peace, happiness, whatever. And then someone's asking an elder in the village, like, which one wins? And the elder's like, whichever one you feed. So again, we have like love and light and compassion and grace and wisdom and power to the people and service and helping other people and this angelic side of us. And then we also have on the other end, you know, some anger, some fear, some anxiety, some depression, some emotions that are really big and intense. And if those bundle up over a long period of time, they can explode in really harmful ways and ways that hurt a lot of people. So this is your job. If you really want to be, I don't know, you want to try to be the best person in the world, you want to live the best life, not only for yourself, but the people around you, like your friends and your family or your community, or on a bigger scale, like that I feel very drawn towards. How do you cultivate that goodness? So I like to talk about a lot of tools. I was just listening to kind of binaural beats music before this. I do have crystals. I've worked with a lot of chiropractors to heal my body and remove a lot of stress and chronic inflammation from my system. I choose to spend a lot of time by myself because there's a lot of people that would drain my energy. I choose to spend time outside a lot. I like to chant. I like to meditate. Like I said, I do like to take in information and just learn more, right? And then those people that do commit like horrendous things, often they're studying people that came before them. You know, there, again, in true crime, there have been people that have gone on to unalive people, and they were studying like those mass serial unalivers, right? So if you're on the certain wavelength of the same thing and you look into it, that's what you're going to perceive and believe in your reality. There has been this, I think, I don't know if it would be heavy tension, but there's been a fight between the light and the dark for a long time. Like I said, like superhero and comic things, and Batman and the Joker and Superman and Lex Luthor and Avengers and whatever. And people don't even realize that that's real life. Like, you really have to be that hero. You have to be the hero of your own mind, your own body, how you show up in relationships and communicate with people, whether it is at work or your family or your friends. Like, you're the hero. If you want there to be more light on the world, you have to choose to be that. And that's a big responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. So tap into ascended masters, gods and goddesses, loved ones that have passed away, animal spirit guides, colors. Like I said, meditate, chanting, visualizations, going outside, putting healthy food into your body that are filled with nutrients, setting boundaries for things you don't like in your life and people you don't want to spend time with. Really reflect on what you want to do with your life every single day. How do you want to give back to people? How do you want to show up in the world? How do you want to express yourself? So awesome ways to get started. If you do want more one-on-one support through an energetic healing or reading or coaching, I offer all three, so you can get in contact with me. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.